afternoon, everybody. I'd like to call the Thursday, March 13th full board to order. First item is Pledge of Allegiance.
To the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Next item is our invocation by Commissioner Sylvia Grot.
Bow our heads. Heavenly Father, we welcome before you with hearts full of gratitude and appreciation for this time together. Thank you for the opportunity to gather and discuss important matter. Help us to recognize the value of each person's contribution and express our gratitude sincerely. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Commissioner. Next item is adoption agenda. Need a motion to adopt
The agenda.
Support.
by Romano, supported by Van Sickle. Seeing no changes to the agenda, please vote.
Motion passes 13-0.
Next is approval of minutes dated February 20th, 2025. Need a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Moved by Haas, supported by Grot. Any changes to the minutes? Seeing none, please vote.
Motion passes 13-0.
Next item is public participation. This is the first opportunity for public participation for those who would like to speak for a maximum of 3 minutes on an item which is on today's agenda. There'll also be a second opportunity for public participation for those who would like to speak on any issue. Would anyone from the public like to speak? Agenda items only.
Mr. Chairman, County Commissioners, George Kale. I was here on Tuesday when the full board was taking the interviews with the candidates for the open positions with the Macomb County Community Mental Health Board positions. It dawned on me afterwards that I'd have to show up today to emphasize if we could outreach to all of those candidates to somehow be participatory as we move forward. There were so many talented people with stories to tell that I was impressed. Commissioner Kraft had even mentioned how it was good to see that we had more than enough applicants for only a few positions. So short of expanding that board or forming an ad hoc committee, whatever the commission can do to get a hold of these participants and say, look, we appreciate your opportunity to serve the board. We'd like to have you still attend meetings or give any type of influence and information that you can. The gentleman who was talking about some of the procedures that he learned back at Wayne State in the 70s. The young lady who was at the jail that was touting all of the great records that they have set in regard to no suicides, no suicide ideation. There is a crisis, a mental health crisis in this community and other communities. And the more people that we can have to participate and help, the better. And I encourage you on that decision. Like I said on Tuesday, you have a very difficult decision, but it's also very important as we move forward. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Anyone else from the public like to speak? State your name for the record. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Sherita Harvey. I was also here on Tuesday for the interviews, and I wanted to say thank you guys for listening, first of all. And also, if I'm not chosen as a board member, I would still love to work with the board to help the central intake process. As far as us being an outpatient provider, we would still like to participate however we can to, like I said before, bridge the gaps between the community and the ability to achieve services that are provided by the mental health, community mental health. So I wanted to say thank you and, to all of the candidates as well as you guys for listening. And hopefully we can work together to change the income brackets so that people can be seen, be treated, be helped through both the private practice side of it as well as the community. So thank you again for your time. And I look forward to working with you guys at any capacity in which you guys will have Lifeline Center. So thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else from the public like to speak? Once, twice. We'll close public participation. Next is appointments. This is the Community Mental Health Board appointments. This is for vacancies for a 3-year term to expire on March 31st, 2028. Adriana, will you be calling the roll?
Yes. So you'll give me 4 names from the list. Commissioner Goike is first.
Okay, I want to just echo real quick the same sentiments as everybody's been talking. I paid a lot of attention to this, and I want to make sure everybody knows I think everybody took it seriously. I scored everybody as best I could, and not to be dismissive of anybody, but my picks are Megan Burke, Dana Frears, Sherita Harvey, and Julia Mohan. Hopefully I said that out correct. Them are my 4 picks.
Commissioner Grot,
Megan Burke, Dana Pierce, Gammicchia, D'Angelo.
Commissioner Haw,
Megan Burke, Dana Frears, Harvey, and Julia Mohan.
Commissioner Howard,
Megan Burke, Dana Fears, Sherita Harvey, and Salvatore D'Angelo.
Commissioner Kraft,
Megan Burke, Dana Frears, Sherita Harvey, and Julia Mohan.
Commissioner Lucido,
Megan Burke, Dana Frears, Sherita Harvey, and Edward Mischel.
Commissioner Perna,
Karen Bathanti, Sherita Harvey, Katrina Yanniello, and Dana Freeze.
Commissioner Romano,
Megan Burke, Dana Frears, Sherita Harvey, Julia Mohan.
Commissioner Vansickle,
Burke, Frears, Harvey, Yanniello.
thank you. Commissioner Wallace,
Burke, Frears, Harvey, Mohan.
Commissioner Voino,
Megan Burke, Dana Frears, Sherita Harvey, Edward Mischel.
Commissioner Zinner,
Megan Burke, Dana Frears, Sherita Harvey, Julia Mohan.
Chair Sabatini.
Megan Burke, Dana Frears, Sherita Harvey, and Julia Mohan.
So we received 1 vote for Bathanti, 12 for Burke, 2 for D'Angelo, 13 for Frears, 1 for Gammicchia, 12 for Harvey, 2 for Mischel, 7 for Mohan, 2 for Yanniello. So we've received a majority for Burke, Frears, Harvey, and Mohan.
Okay, I'll take a motion to appoint Megan Burke, Dana Frears, Sherita Harvey, and Julia Mohan.
So moved, Mr. Chair.
Support Van Sickles. Moved by Kraft, supported by Haw. Before we vote officially here, I just want to say thank you to all of the nominees. I think for as long as I've been here, this is probably the most difficult list of candidates that we've had to select from. We've had so many great candidates with so much experience. Certainly, there are vacancies that come on this board, and there are certainly other opportunities in this county to serve. So please apply in a different aspect in this county, because we have so many talented people here on this list. We'd certainly like to see you on a board or council somewhere here in the county. So thank you to everybody. Is there any other speakers? Seeing none, please vote.
Motion passes 13-0.
Okay, next is proclamations. Proclamation honoring the Macomb Symphony Orchestra and their 50th anniversary. I need a motion to adopt.
Motion to adopt.
Made by Grot, supported by Wallace. Please vote.
Motion passes 13-0.
Are you trying to get my attention? You did well.
Pleasure. So, show of hands, commissioners, let's be honest. How many of you knew that we had a Macomb Symphony? Okay.
Love it.
Well,
Now you know.
I didn't raise my hand either, just to be open and honest. I was watching the news, and there was a report about the Macomb Symphony. And you happened to be on the news, Andrew. And I was watching the reel, and I said, who's that? So I had to rewind and watch the reel again. And lo and behold, I said, is that Todd Schmitz from the county playing the cello? Now, Todd's not here, but as soon as I saw that, I then talked to Crystal, I think Monday, our chief of staff, and said, did you know that Todd played the cello in the Macomb Symphony? Did you know we had a Macomb Symphony? And we were just talking about this, and lo and behold, I didn't know that. So, and that being said, they have their 50th anniversary. So it's quite remarkable that we have such a wonderful organization here in Macomb County. The Symphony was actually founded in 1974 and has been dedicated to encouraging education, interest, and preserving symphonic music. I don't want to talk a lot about the actual symphony because I'd really like to hear more about it from the board president, Kathleen Board, and the director, Andrew Meir. And hopefully, Neer.
Yep.
I got the names pretty close. Harold Hall would probably agree. I did a great job. But I'd like to introduce them because they are the honorees here today of the 50th anniversary. And they have a really interesting story about the symphony. And I want to present them with this proclamation on behalf of the Board of Commissioners and say thank you for all the great things you've done for Macomb County the last 50 years. And we hope that we can offer you one of these at a 100-year anniversary because you're doing such a great thing with us. So thank you so much, and we just want to recognize you with this.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
So I'll let you guys say a few words. And then also, before I forget, please announce the next event that the symphony is having.
No problem. No problem.
On behalf of the Macomb Symphony Board of Directors, the orchestra, and our illustrious conductor, Andrew Neer, thank you very much for this recognition. It was just wonderful. It was quite a surprise when we got the email from Todd that this was going to happen today. So I appreciate you taking the time out of your busy day and putting this together for us. I think this is wonderful. We started in 1974 in connection with the college. Our founder, Thomas Cook, was a professor of music at Macomb. He still was until, well, 2 years ago. And he began just this little tiny ensemble. And that grew into what we have now as a full-fledged professional orchestra. So all our musicians are paid, not what we would like to give them, but what we can afford at this point. And Andrew Neer is now our conductor. Tom was our conductor for 48 years. And then when he retired, we hired Andrew, and we're very pleased with the transition that has taken place. So thank you very much. I hope that you can come to some of our concerts. I did give the information to both Don and Sylvia, so they can pass that on to you in an email so that you'll have our dates that are coming up for even the summer series that we have. So I'll let Andrew talk to you about the concert that's coming up.
Well, first of all, I wanted to also say thank you. It's really an honor to be here and just to be acknowledged by you all. It's great. And I'm sorry we haven't done a better job of helping you all to know that we exist. That's something we're currently working on, and when I came on as the music director, realized that not many people, I grew up in Macomb County. I'm from Sterling Heights. I didn't know it existed. It wasn't until I came back from my master's degrees and came back to this area and started working a little bit more as a professional musician and as a conductor that I learned about it. And then, obviously I applied for the job and won. But, which is always a fun process, as you all know, we're running campaigns and doing all that stuff. But, the orchestra has changed a lot over the last several years, especially post-pandemic. And I'm really proud of the work that we're doing together. We're doing as much as we can to get out into the community, to be more engaged with the community, so that we can actually do things like bring some interest in orchestral music back into the schools, which is almost non-existent in our county. Almost non-existent. So that would be that's my biggest push right now, is not only to impact the broader community, but to try to also help and aid teachers to get their students in front of an orchestra so that they have exposure to all this great art and literature. So a lot of the things we've been doing, especially with the youth performances and engagement, is try to introduce them to music that's not only like popular stuff that they would hear, but rich movie scores. We just did a youth concert literally yesterday where we did parts of Pictures at an Exhibition, and Peer Gynt Suite. And if you don't know those things, definitely look them up because they're really incredible music. Our last concert that we just had, and I'll be quiet after just a second, so I promise it won't take too much time, but the last concert we had, we were that you saw me on TV about, was Brahms' Requiem, which is huge with chorus, and we're engaging other communities, so parts of Oakland County and Macomb County, to bring everybody together to make great art in our community. So including that of bringing in Detroit Symphony artists to be soloists with our orchestra as well, to hopefully gain more recognition and to bring more attention to the orchestra and to give them an outlet to perform out in the community as well. So trying to bridge that gap and to create more involvement and interest in the orchestra. Now, one of my favorite concerts that we're doing this year, I'll do concerts of any kind of music. I don't care. I love music and I'm happy to work with the orchestra in any fashion, but I am a total nerd. And when the Macomb Center called and said, "We have May the 4th available. Are you interested?" I said, "Yes, no questions asked. Absolutely." That was the only concert that they had, "We have this date. Do you want it?" And I was like, "Absolutely." So, do you all know what the significance of May the 4th is? Okay. So May the 4th be with you all. And it's an entire Star Wars concert that spans the episode 1 through episode 9 with a couple of the Star Wars stories themes plugged in there. So it's all music, there's no video. That would be hundreds of thousands of dollars that we just don't have at this point. But I would definitely be interested in however we can develop a relationship with any of you to get our face back out into the community more. Please don't hesitate to reach out. I would love to be an arm for the community, for the arts, and to continue to develop and make this bigger and sustainable for the future 100 years from now, right? When we're long gone, because that's the legacy, right? Something that we can hand on to the next generation that builds community and continues to bring everybody closer together. So without that, and then we have another concert on June 21st, which is an outdoor concert in association with Shelby Summer Fest.
Talk about it more.
Which one?
Shelby.
She represents Shelby Township.
Oh, you represent Shelby Township.
Wonderful job last year.
Oh, thank
I
you.
attended.
Thank you. I'm glad you were there. Yeah, it's
Awesome.
we're doing something similar. It's another big concert. I'm not sure if they're doing the drone show this year.
Yes, they do.
But we're doing a drone show this
Yes.
year. Then I thought they were. I just
do.
didn't want to say it
They
officially,
do.
So it's a huge outdoor concert. I think we had. Do you know the number of people that showed
I
up?
don't, but it's a lot.
I thought the estimate was around 3,000 or something like that, maybe
You
more.
probably know. They give you
I think it was between 3 and 4. And that was just an incredible opportunity to give back to the community. And honestly, when Nick contacted me about that, it was,
Yes.
I was thrilled, and that was another one of those phone calls where, would you be interested in, yes. What do you, I haven't even tried to, yes, you said drone show and outdoors, I'm game, let's do it, like,
TV
so.
production.
Yeah, exactly,
Shelby
yeah,
does.
yes, Shelby, yeah,
Proud to
so.
represent Shelby.
They have done a fantastic job, and it's a great relationship that we've started. We've even talked about doing some things with their television, but that hasn't panned out yet. So lots of conversations with people, but we have, we need more people to be involved in the symphony in general so that we can develop funding and get some of these programs out into the public so that we can bring classical music and orchestral music. It doesn't have to all be classical music, but give people exposure to these ensembles. And yeah, no, that's an honor.
It's
I'm
an
so
awesome
glad,
show.
so glad that we were able to develop that relationship. It's been amazing.
Looking forward again.
Me too. I can't wait. And I think we're going to try to add a little extra. So we'll see. I'm not going to give it away yet, but we're going to try to, on our end, artistically, we're going to try to add something that might make it a little bit bigger than it was last year. So.
Awesome. Awesome.
But I'm not going to share the secrets. You got to come and see it, June 21st.
right.
So May the 4th, we're doing the All Star Wars concert at the Macomb Center for the Performing Arts. Tickets are available through, you can go to our website and see some information on the symphony and all of that, macombsymphony.org. Or you can go to the Macomb Center's website and buy tickets directly through there. But if you go to our website, you'll get directed to that immediately. So
We'll be sharing that info.
And
really
on
appreciate
behalf of the Board of Directors, we have put a block of tickets at the will call ticket window for the county commissioners. So if
no
you would
pressure.
like to come, I did put a block of tickets on reserve for you. So if you would like to take advantage, just say I'm from the Macomb, I'm a Macomb County Commissioner and
Mr.
Yeah,
with a
yes,
guest,
yeah,
with a
yeah.
guest.
So-
I'd like to add a resolution to this proclamation. We will continue your support, providing you perform in front of this board sometime this year.
you tell me when, and I will get somebody here to
We have ensembles that would love to
We
play.
can definitely work that out for you. So, yeah, no problems with that at all.
Thank you
Hey,
so much.
it's our honor. Yeah,
Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you all.
Thank you for your work.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, next is presentations. This is the Detroit Zoological Society update. Dr. Murphy here, who will be giving us an update on the zoo. I need a motion to receive and file.
Motion received and filed.
Support. Made by Grot, supported by Zinner. Doctor, how are you?
Good. Hi, thank you so much for having us. I'm Dr. Haley Murphy. I'm the CEO and Executive Director of the zoo. And I'm pleased to present you with a little bit of an update on what's going on at the zoo. I wanted to tell the orchestra I also was a concert clarinetist for most of my early times, so music certainly is so important. So I wanted to start out by saying we have a new strategic plan that's available. You can just go to our website or you can copy this QR code. It's really our roadmap to the future. We'll be 100 years old in 2028. We were founded in 1928. And so we really thought it was time to recreate a roadmap so that we can build on the foundation we have and really be an institution for the next 100 years. So it really will tell you a lot about where we're going and what we're prioritizing for the future. For 2024, and I must say this is our new male lion, Kalu. If you haven't seen him, before I even talk, I have to acknowledge how handsome he is. He's the most striking male lion I've ever seen, and I've been in this business for over 30 years, so please come see Kalu. In 2024, we had a little over 1.2 million visitors through the gates. Not quite as much of a banner year as we had pre-pandemic, but we're starting to see those numbers come back up. We had 42,000 member households registered with the zoo, and we did an economic study that showed we had more than $168 million economic impact to Southeast Michigan. We're the largest single paid attraction in Michigan in 2024. And we get guests from every county in the state of Michigan and every state in the US, as well as 7 other countries. And so we saw quite an influx. We're one of the largest zoos in the country at this point. Our revenue summary, we brought in a little over $54 million in revenue last year. Of that, earned revenue contributed 51% to our operating budget. So we're always looking at ways to grow our own revenue. Public support contributed 34%. Philanthropy and fundraising was 13%. And other revenue, such as interest from investments, was 2%. Expenses, we try and go to a net zero budget, so just so you know, anything left over, we reinvest into capital. You can imagine with almost a 100-year-old site, we have a lot of capital needs. $52.9 million in expenses, 79% of that went to mission central areas such as our animal care and welfare centers, our guest experience centers, educational programming, facilities, and again, our capital projects. 4% we spent on fundraising, 4% on marketing, and 13% for administration and IT needs. For our animals, of course, we're a zoo, so I'd be remiss in not talking more about our animals. We have over 2,000 animals that reside at the zoo, 258 species among them, and we added 5 new species in 2024. We had twin red panda cubs born in June. If you haven't seen them, please come see them, although they're really hard to tell apart from their parents. They grew so fast. We had our first ever gorilla born at the zoo this year, or in 2024. In the 97-year history of the zoo, we've never reproduced gorillas, so we're super thrilled with that. They're incredibly endangered in the wild, so we were very happy to contribute to that population. And we welcomed a 3rd sea otter, a new male lion, as I told about Kalu, and a 3rd polar bear just arrived at the end of last week, and her name happens to be the same as mine, which by coincidence. Education, we saw over 153,000 educational program participants, and that was across all of our programs. We saw all 1st graders in the Warren Consolidated School District. We do a Zoo Tots, it's an incredibly popular program, Zoo Tots and Safari Camp scholarships, and we provided those through Great Start Macomb. And we did weekly after-school programming at the Chippewa Valley High School last year, in addition to a lot of other programs that we were out and about with. We also partner with the Huron-Clinton Metro Parks. We do educational programming, so our 2 education teams, the Parks team and our team, we have over 20 professional educators on our staff. They partner and they go out into the region to do co-programming. We found there was a ton of synergy between the 2 organizations, so to maximize that synergy, collaboration, and efficiency, we have a formal MOU in place. We did a great program with Great Start Macomb doing teacher development and training, so kind of train the trainer programming. So combining the expertise of the park system with the expertise of our conservationists, our sustainability staff, and our animal welfare and well-being staff, we partnered to train the trainers so that they can then increase their capacity in the classroom to increase students' knowledge of sustainability and environmental efforts. We did a really successful electronic recycling event at Lake St. Clair Metro Park. We recycled over 20,000 pounds of waste during that event, so incredibly impactful to the environment. And we have some large greenhouses at the zoo, so we cultivated tree saplings to be planted throughout the Macomb County Park System in partnership with HCMA. So they told us where they needed trees, we procured the saplings, we cultivated them to be hardier, to go out into the environment, and then we planted them throughout the park system in Macomb County. As far as community, we do a Dream Night every year, and Dream Night is a special night dedicated to children with terminal and severe illnesses. These are usually children that cannot go to a park or a zoo at any point because they're too ill and they require special assistance. So we brought in, we try and limit that to about 1,000 children and their families every year so that we can give really specialized attention to those kids. It's free of charge. We work with several community partners to bring those children in. It's also a night where their caretakers can come, their siblings can come, and we have special equipment throughout the zoo to help that visit be more enjoyable. We do nocturnal adventures. This is a very unique program that we do. We partner with shelters for domestic abuse to bring their participants into the zoo at night. We don't advertise this broadly. We want them to have a very secure and pleasant experience, a respite from all of the stress they're under. We also always invite the resident staff to come with their families so that they can also get respite, because we find that they're under a tremendous amount of stress as well. Many of you may know Turning Point Shelter in Macomb County, as well as MCREST. Those are two of the shelters that took advantage of this program last year. We also have partnerships with Advancing Macomb, the Disability Network of Eastern Michigan, Anton Art Center, Gianna House, Macomb County Ministerial Alliance, and Leadership Macomb. We're in our second year of sending our staff through Leadership Macomb. And we are hosting the Macomb Community Nonprofit Roundtable at the zoo on May 21st. So we're really looking forward to that event, where we'll speak to how the zoo partners with other organizations. Seniors are a big part of our outreach right now. We're really trying to look at our population from, when you're a zoo tot all the way up to the senior citizen population. We're enriching educational experience throughout senior communities. In Macomb, we're partnering with Macomb Moore, the Pines Senior Living Center, the Roseville East Point Senior Center, and Shelby Township Senior Center. And I think it's important to point out, we tailor the program to what they request. So we don't have, a cookie cutter program for the seniors, because we found that many senior centers want a whole host of different things. Some just want you to come and talk about the environment. Some want to learn more about animal welfare. Some want to come to the zoo. Some want special programming where they can sit down and be more active, like kind of like an arts and crafts program. So our education and community outreach team have been really great. With the schools, we have more of a, I wouldn't say it's cookie cutter, because a lot of schools ask us for tailored programs too. But these senior centers, we found that's the most successful way to approach them, is they tell us what they want, then we create the program and go to them. We do an older adult advisory committee presentation on March 25th. It's coming up, and a free Tri-County Senior Days are May 28th and September 10th, and those are always super popular, where we really stock up on ECVs and wheelchairs, and we have a lot of docents and volunteers that come in to help with us on those days so that we can make the experience as enjoyable as possible. Accessibility is core to our value system, so we do sensory-friendly hours. This is an experience where you come into the zoo and we tone down the music. If you've been there, we have a carousel, we have multiple things going on in the theaters. We have a 4-day experience when you walk through our Polk Penguin Conservation Center. We tone all that down. We have more quiet spaces available. We partner with Culture City, which is a sensory inclusive training program that we do, and provide backpacks. So when you check in, this is free of charge, and things like those little spinning tools and noise canceling headphones are free to anybody who needs them for their visit to be enjoyable. We just launched Roboca. It's a customized visual experience for people who are low vision or no vision to experience the zoo. We're the first zoo in the nation to do this, and so we're really trying to partner with them on working out all the kinks as a pilot program, and then we're going to be running this all the time so that people who may have visual challenges can also enjoy the experience. And we were the first zoo in the nation to adopt the Sunflower Hidden Disabilities Program, which is a special program where guests and staff can wear a sunflower lanyard or a pin. There's multiple ways you can do the bracelet. And it just identifies staff and visitors that may have a hidden disability, so that if there's a problem, we become aware of that immediately. Sustainability is another core mission area of ours. We do those community electronic events like I talked about. We did one in Macomb County. Last year we collected over 85 tons. We filled 9 semi-truck beds full of electronics, 3 times the amount as in previous years. We do an annual Green Fest where we had nearly 8,000 guests participating. We also do Green Schools. Don Brown was there last year and helped us welcome all the students, and we did a big Taylor Swift music thing and Kids loved that. It was kindergarten through 12th grade. It was a lot of energy on grounds that day. We do an Adopt a Stream program with the Clinton River Watershed Council, super impactful. And we also have a lot of, as you can guess with a campus this old, a lot of infrastructure challenges. So last year, I really want to take the time to thank the community leaders from Macomb who came out and went to bat for us to get some funding for infrastructure. So we had a large sinkhole open up. This is a picture of the repair taking place right now. If you've been down the feeder road near the zoo, the 10-mile feeder road, it's all closed off because that was where the sinkhole opened up. We have other threats of sinkholes on grounds, so we're starting to really have to invest under the ground on our campus. And when I say they went to bat, they wrote letters of support. Candace Miller, Don Brown, Mark Hackle all wrote letters for us to get some state help with this, because the $18 million is 7 acres of our campus. We're 125 acres, and we have the same problem happening throughout the campus. So we're really investigating right now, trying to figure out where all the problems are, and then how do we prioritize that plan of attack before sinkholes open up in other places. We're also, during that project, we're looking at how we manage our stormwater responsibly. So you can imagine the runoff from 125 acres is significant. So how do we manage that, separate stormwater from other water sources, from runoff? We want to really get to net zero water at the zoo. That's one of our big goals. So how are we managing that? Part of what we're doing too is educating people about stormwater. And so how can you help stormwater runoff in your own backyard? So you can imagine with 1.2 million visitors through the gates, we really want to take advantage of our educational opportunities. And part of that is our new Discovery Trails coming. That should hopefully, I'm knocking on wood, open in 2026. So this is a 7-acre experience right where that sinkhole is. That's the oldest part of our zoo that's never been touched. This was a plan that was thought up. It's actually the capstone to our 22-year-old master plan. So it was the last part of the zoo that was reimagined over 20 years ago. And it is really designated for education. So what we're aiming for in this space is to increase our capacity for educational programming. Right now, if you tried to get any of your kids in a summer camp, you know it's sold out in a day. And part of the reason, once we opened it, part of the reason for that is we don't have enough space, and we don't have enough space for staff even to take all the kids that want to come to the zoo for camps. 20% of our camps are scholarship funded, and we'd love to increase that. So Discovery Trails will give us this capability. We're bringing in 10 species of animals. It's got, you can see that kind of wooden structure in the middle. It's got a huge tree canopy climbing trail that is wheelchair and handicapped accessible, and that stretches through a lot of that 7 acres. We're bringing in stingrays and bamboo sharks. And all of this, again, is the capstone to that last master plan, so that we can really increase our educational capacity. We've got a Michigan farmyard in there where we do we'll be doing a farmer's market, grow Michigan crops, explain about the importance of agriculture to our state. Kids can use their STEM skills. We'll have a fake farmer's market so they can pretend buy and weigh out food and figure out the cost of food. We'll have cooking recipes so you can see, okay, if you grow a tomato and a pepper and an onion, how do you then use that in salsa or something? I don't know. I don't cook a lot, so but that'll be really fun. So we're really excited to be planning this. We just completed the pipes underground. Like I said, that was unexpected part of this project to find so many problems, but that was an $18 million fix of pipes on those 7 acres. That's it for the formal part. Can I get any questions, comments?
Yes, thank you, Doctor, for the presentation. And the
You're
update.
welcome.
We really appreciate that. We do have some questions for you. So Commissioner Wallace.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you for the presentation. It was very informative. I love the male lion at the beginning. It's very handsome.
Thank you.
So
Hello.
my question for you, I have 2 questions. One, I know in previous years we've talked about the nature centers locally. I represent District 8, which is Mount Clemens, Clinton Township, and that was one of the locations, possible locations, Mount Clemens or Clinton Township, that the partnership would happen in. And from my understanding, you can correct me if I'm wrong, that is no longer happening. So I would like just an update on that, what happened. I found out online, which was surprising to me because we've had many discussions in this room, updates, and, it was happening, then paused, and then, pushed to a later date, and then look online end of last year, beginning of this year, to see that it's not happening. So I would just like an update, what happened. Yeah, that's my first question.
Sure. So the Great Lakes Center for Nature was envisioned before the pandemic, and then by my predecessor, Ron Kagan. And when the pandemic hit, obviously, everybody went through that pandemic and incredible economic, hardships for everybody. We came out of that pandemic. I came on board, not really knowing the zoo yet, so I had to get my feet under me. It's a very complex organization, as you can imagine. But really, when we look at the financial health of the zoo as an organization and the priorities on 125 acres of 100-year-old infrastructure that was failing, and having to finish that last master plan. It is, by the way, we're AZA accredited. It's an accreditation standard that you have to have ongoing master plan for your campus. It just made sense to concentrate on finishing that master plan, partnering with HCMA. I'm a firm believer in efficiency and collaboration. So we're, as a partnership, as a collaboration, what could we serve the county in programming and educational without really robbing Peter to pay Paul and put all our resources into a nature center when we knew that we could have a much broader reach in Macomb County by a partnership with the biggest park system in Macomb County. So that's the direction we went. I think it's still, it was then and it's still now a sound economic decision for the zoo because we just couldn't come out of that pandemic and build a new structure. It wasn't going to be economically feasible for us.
And then my second question is the timeline for the discovery trails. I know you were working on the underground. So do you have a timeline?
Yeah, the underground part of it is pretty much finished. We're doing a little bit more stormwater management. If you've been to the zoo, there's a lake on property, so we're trying to also utilize that and dig it deeper. We had a little disruption because our polar bears were breeding. And polar bears, when they breed, are incredibly sensitive to vibration. And so we had to stop for longer than we intended. The fun part of building anything at a zoo. But we're back online now. That should be finished. We're pouring foundations and concrete right now for the above ground structures. We're hoping to open in 26 sometime. I'm not going to commit to when because, as you know, construction projects can be a bear, and this one's been particularly difficult. We found things underground that nobody knew were there. And so it's been a kudos to our construction team, I'll say that. It's been a battle.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Commissioner Kraft?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Doctor, thank you for the presentation, and never start digging because it's always twice as long,
I know.
twice as expensive. Just throw stuff over it, it's fine.
I know.
Anyway, thank you for the presentation. I skimmed through the strategic plan real quick while you were speaking, so if I missed this while you're speaking, I apologize. But what are the zoo's and yours goals and priorities for the next year, 5 years? I know you said you have a master plan, which obviously we're not seeing, so I'm just throwing this out there. But I'm wondering, where would you like to see the zoo, next year or so? Aside from the discovery trails, I know that's major project number one.
Major one.
But after that's completed, or what are you thinking? What's in the works?
Yeah, so we're really focused right now on how we, I won't mention discovery trails, but that's a big one, right? How we manage to run the facility with so much construction and still get those kids through on the buses and get our staff out into the community. The staff have heard me say this many times. We have to be a zoo without borders, meaning we have to get out in the community more and meet people that can't get to the zoo. So we're really focused on that, on developing our community outreach arm. much more than we have in the past. We were always out there, but we really relied on busing kids into the zoo and seniors into the zoo, and my goal is we're a lot more mobile than a lot of those participants. So how do we get out into that community, into the community, and deliver programs? So that's a big vision for the future. We're also trying to look at how we serve the community in other ways. So like I said, tree plantings, stormwater management. Besides our educational programming, how do we help I call it our backyard, the Tri-County region, with things that impact sustainability and conservation? One of the most impactful things I went through when I was fairly early in my career, I went to a conference where we were talking about the bushmeat crisis. I don't know if you know that, but it's affecting animals in Africa. And we were in Chicago with Jane Goodall. All the biggies were there talking about bushmeat. And a gentleman from Africa stood up and he said, "I've listened to all of you talk about conservation and saving species. And I live in rural Africa. I have no electricity and no running water and no protein for my children. And I haven't seen one wild animal in Chicago." And so that really hit home with me, and I really believe that before we fix the world, we have to fix our own backyard. So that's part of my vision for the zoo is what's in this Tri-County region and how can we be a factor in helping conservation, sustainability, education, and the environment in our backyard.
Thank you, Doctor. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Commissioner Goyke?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Dr. Murphy. I got a lot of good things going on there. The biggest thing is I question how far out of the box are we going because it's a zoo? Shouldn't it be just focused on the zoo? The collaboration between here and Clinton Metro Parks. We already have a farming, facility to show all that. Do we need a duplications of services on that? Or is that a reach out because we're already spending taxpayers' money here? I don't know what Oakland County has going on, and here in Metro is multiple counties. But, through their collaboration, that's, it's actually out by my house out in, Ray Township where, they have working dairy and animals and people come out all the time for that and to expand. And do we really need to spend the more money, whereas we can focus on the zoo, on the animals, and make it a good experience like it seems like you're already trying to do? So.
Yeah, so I'm not sure I understand your question.
My point is, why are you going with, wanting to expand all that in the 125 acres instead of using other places to focus on that? And is it really the job of you for the other conservation stuff? Whereas, that's a big deal in agriculture.
Yeah.
Is it needed there, or do we, utilize HCMA for doing that aspect, and you just focus on, the wild animals that are not, natural to Michigan?
Yeah, so that's a great question, actually. So part of what we do and part of our constituents that come through those gates, what we were trying to do with the farm part of it is you can't go touch a tiger, or you could, but you won't touch another one. So we were trying to think of a way to utilize our grounds. There was already a farm there. So we're renovating that farm, but we never historically had farm animals that you could touch. And so now we're bringing in goats and chickens and that farmyard to really, we have those 1.2, hopefully more than that in the post-pandemic era. We were up to 1.4 million people a year. Get them through the gates and have a more compact educational message, or not only around agriculture, but building that empathy with animals. Stingrays, bamboo sharks, they're all in that area. Bush dogs, anteaters, alpacas. So we're bringing in, like I said, 10 species of animals into that area so that people have the wide range of wildlife. And then the goal is to create that empathy with animals. So you can touch a farmyard animal, or you can watch an anteater eat, or you can see how a bush dog survives in the South American forest. So that's part of our goal with that area. And HCMA, we do a lot with them as far, like our animal welfare experts are helping guide their animal husbandry techniques, and they're helping us guide how do you manage a park system that's that large. We're 125 acres. I always forget how many acres there are. It's overwhelming. So how do we partner together to solve problems? We've got a lot of PhDs and DVMs on our staff that can help inform them, and they can help inform us with how to manage a park system. That's not our
Yeah,
expertise.
and that's what I get, that's my whole point is, why try to be all to all on such a small footprint when we're already spending tax dollars at other facilities like that? And then, I probably shouldn't say this, but, this was the biggest thing that I had against Governor Cranholm shutting down our state, our state fair. It was an excellent opportunity for the whole urban, Michigan to collaborate and come together for, it was the oldest state fair in Michigan, and it's gone right now.
Yeah, I
So
was
we're all-
surprised when I moved here. I grew up in upstate New York, and I grew up riding horses. I was a horse vet before I became a zoo vet, before I became a zoo leader. And I lived at the New York State Fair. And so when we moved here, I said to my husband, let's find out where the state fair is and go. So I hear you, but for us, our investment in our campus, it had to happen on that 7 acres right away anyway, because it was falling apart. And it was the capstone to reimagining that campus.
Okay, that's
Yeah, I hear
my
you.
opinion, so
No, I appreciate it.
everybody's got one.
It's good to hear all opinions.
Commissioner Howard.
Thanks, Chair. I would wager that my family individually frequents the zoo more than all the other commissioners combined. There are weeks where my family goes to the zoo daily, genuinely, in the summer. Thankfully, our in-laws bought us a family pass because they're from St. Louis, and the St. Louis Zoo is actually free to attend. My question, I have two. The first is for the Discovery Trails. A lot of times when you go to the Detroit Zoo, this added feature is a pretty significant cost to attend. Will there be an added cost for the Discovery Trails?
No, there's no added cost to the actual 7 acres. We will have some added fees if you want to feed a stingray. You can touch them, but if you want to feed them, and that was really on the advice of the welfare experts, because if we offered it too much, the stingrays would get sick. So, but we will provide scholarships for that also. And then if you want to, we will have very limited anteater feeding for the same reason. So we'll do a mix of scholarships and for free anteater feeding. That's hard to say. But the whole experience is free.
Okay, so to enter into that
Entrance
space
fee covers everything, yeah. It's
Okay.
also being built right by the membership entrance. So part of our goal was if you're coming to the zoo with multiple age kids or multiple kids, it's a fairly enclosed 7 acres. So if you want to come in and do just the 7 acres, we have a gathering space in the middle that has handicap accessible restrooms, eateries, shade. You can come in and just do the 7 acres and kind of see your kids wherever they are, and then leave through that membership gate. So we're trying to make it as guest-friendly as we could.
Yeah, I just want to echo the sentiments, Commissioner Wallace. So when the millage was passed, I believe in 2018, it was heavily communicated that there would be a footprint in Macomb County for the Detroit Zoo. If my numbers are correct, so far we've $24 million of Macomb County's tax dollars have gone to the Detroit Zoo, and through the course of the millage will be approximately $40 million. And for that commitment to be broken, I find it, really hard because, my taxes just went up again this year. And this is an ongoing millage for 10 years that we feel like, in my opinion, a commitment was made and that commitment was backed out on. And so that's kind of hard when our task is to be responsible for taxpayer dollars. And this is a $40 million check that taxpayers are writing in Macomb County without getting, in my opinion, their just due. And if I understand it correctly, it was we're not doing the Nature Center in Macomb and then shift it to the partnership with Huron Metro. And so that's, hey, you're not getting this thing and we're going to shift it over and do something else while we're paying for it as taxpayers here in Macomb County. And so that's just my thoughts, and I just wanted to find out if in the future, will there be a revitalization of that nature center in Macomb?
Yeah, I can't promise anything because I don't know what the future holds right now, right? We are, as you saw from my revenue slide, I don't know if I can do that. The tax millage is that public support. Yeah, 34%, and that's operating. That's not to go to anything else. That's how we operate the zoo. And so if we got to the point where it was covering enough that we had enough to operate the zoo through earned revenue, and that's a big drive of mine right now with the zoo, is to get our earned revenue numbers up so we can do more with that tax support. Right now, that just covers 34% of our operating. And so we don't have a lot of flexibility in that number. As you saw, we have a little over 2 million extra a year to reinvest into the campus. The rest we have to fundraise for, and that 2 million, as you can imagine, on 125 acres, doesn't go very far. And so we need to first get more economically viable by earned revenue. The challenge with that, and I'll be honest with you all, is we try and keep accessibility for everybody. And so we're always giving tickets away. We're always community partners. We're always doing reduced fees. And so there's a cap to what we can earn because we don't want to exclude people from coming to the zoo. So it's a very delicate balance. Believe me, if we could have another facility, I would love that. It's part of our mission. But my job is to be economically responsible and not let the whole thing go under. So we're really concentrating on that earned revenue and getting that up without driving away people who could not afford to come to the zoo anyway. So it's very delicate balance.
Thank you. I appreciate that answer. Last question, you mentioned something about being more mobile than other zoos and being able to bring the zoo out to us. So say me and Commissioner Wallace was doing an event in Mount Clemens and we wanted the zoo to come out here or into Warren with me and the other commissioners. How do we, I didn't see any contact information. So if there's any way we can go about exchanging that so we can figure out how we can bring the zoo to our districts.
Definitely. Amanda, our chief of staff, is here and she can hand out her card and you can always contact me. And yeah, we'll book you and get out to your facilities. Yeah.
Thank you. Thanks, Chair.
Thank you. All right, seeing no other speakers, thank you, Doctor, again for the update.
Thank you.
Please vote.
Motion passes 13-0.
Okay, next is committee recommendations for everyone here in the audience and watching. These items were discussed in detail in subcommittees, so this portion of the meeting typically goes pretty quick. But they were certainly discussed in detail, but we are going to get through our normal business here. So first is Internal Services Committee recommendations. I'll take a motion to approve items 10A through 10C.
Mr.
Chair.
Chairman?
Could you break that, if you wouldn't mind, A and B and C, A and B together and C separate?
Sure can, if the motion maker would like to amend.
Thank
Okay,
you.
so we'll take items A and B, I'm sorry, A
And B.
and B together.
Yes,
And then we'll
thank
do C
you.
separately. So A and B, we have a motion by Commissioner Wallace, supported by Lucido. Seeing no discussion, please vote.
Motion passes 10-3. Commissioners Grot, Romano, and Van Sickle voting no.
Okay, item number 10C, I'll take a motion to approve.
So moved. Support.
Moved by Wallace, supported by Lucido. Seeing no discussion, please vote.
Motion passes 13-0.
Okay, next is Health and Human Services Committee recommendations. I'll take a motion to approve 11A through 11D.
So moved. Support.
Moved by Lucido, supported by Wallace. Appreciate that. Seeing no discussion, please vote.
Commissioner Bueno, I don't think your vote went through for you, if you'll voice vote.
Yes.
Thank you. Motion passes 13-0.
Okay, next is Government Oversight Committee recommendations. Need a motion to approve items 12A and B.
So move.
Support.
Moved by Haas, supported by Zinner. Commissioner Wallace.
Thank you, Chair. I know that we have to extend our contract with Hunchfree. I completely understand that. I really want to just express, I hope that we get, when we do put this out for bid, that we get more companies that put in their name. From what I see on social media, it can be a lot better. And when I sat down with Hunchfree a couple years ago, and I mean, granted, it's just my opinion, but many things were said. It could be done, and they would at least attempt it to be done. I haven't seen one. And granted, I don't work for them, but I do think that my opinion matters, based off of just my background and the demographic that I am in and the people that I represent. This is what's on social media does not hit the mark. Who we are as a brand is not really focused on. Just us as commissioners is not expressed well. I have not been quiet about this over the years, so this should come as no surprise. So I just wanted to make sure my voice is heard. If anyone has any questions, feel free to come to me, but I really do hope that we get some more options out there. They're doing a great job on the website, but that is not my focus. So thank you, Chair.
Commissioner Howard.
I am echoing Commissioner Wallace again. We had a meeting with Hunchfree and went over their services. I feel like what they're charging is astronomically high for what they offer. I had some questions that I feel like were important, and I just have some concerns about their ability in regards to they're serving other cities. And as we saw in the past week, and it's happened other times before, where they're posting other cities' information under our profiles, and just some of their targeting in regards of like how they're doing marketing and stuff like that. I asked a question, and the answer was, "Oh, we're not able to do that." And I do social media marketing, and I do meta ads. I knew that was not accurate, and so just some reservations in regards of what their capacity. They do an amazing job on the website. Their design is great. There is very consistent, so no issues there. It's just about, some of the other aspects that we're paying them for. Are we getting just due for what we're paying them for? And I'm just not sure that is happening right now.
Okay, seeing no other speakers, please vote.
Motion passes 13-0.
Okay, next is Public Services Committee recommendations. I'll take a motion to approve 13A through 13D.
So moved.
Moved by Haas, supported by Lucido. Seeing no speakers, please vote.
Motion passes 13-0.
Okay, next is Records and Public Safety Committee recommendations. I'm going to take these somewhat separately here. We'll just do 14A first. Need a motion to approve 14A?
Support.
Moved by Wallace, supported by Kraft. Seeing no speakers. Oh, Commissioner Haw?
Thank you, Chair. I'm going to follow on Commissioner Howard's questioning of this yesterday. I did not like some of the answers that were received from the individual presenting when they said they're going to move juveniles into non-supervised residential housing. I have a problem with that. These are obviously young men or women that have been in trouble with the law, and this is a 5-year commitment we're making here. And when she indicated the facility hadn't even been completed yesterday, I really have a problem with that. And I will disclose the other bidder has a facility in Roseville that's doing a phenomenal job, not only with residency, but other services offered. So therefore, I'll be voting no on this.
Okay. Seeing no other speakers on this item, please vote.
10 times more money, wasn't it?
Something else, I think. That was with Barb.
Motion fails 6 to 7.
Gammicchia.
Commissioners Grot, Haw, Perna, Romano, Vansickle, Voino, and Zinner voting no.
Okay, next item, I'm going to take 14B through F.
Chair,
Motion to approve Romano? or you
can
wanna
we
split
vote
that?
on 14B separately?
You like that one separated? Okay,
That
we'll
was
do
the
that one separate.
presentation that Commissioner Hall was referring to as the other bidder that was Live Right.
We'll separate that one. So we'll do 14B. I'll take a motion on 14B.
Motion.
Support.
Made by Romano, supported by Wallace. Commissioner Howard, did you want to speak on this?
Yes, I do believe that I still don't feel like I've gotten enough information to vote yes on this. One of the things that, as I was talking into the community and following up on this, I was told by nonprofit leaders that this grant was already approved. However, we're voting on it today. So I just want to caution, like, as folks are coming to the board for grants or budget items, that they're not communicating to individuals that it's approved or denied prior to we actually vote on it. Because I'll be voting no on it. I believe that I don't have enough information to vote yes on it, and the other organization that bid on it offers a substantially amount of more services.
Any other speakers on this item? Seeing none, please vote.
Excuse me, Chair, was this with Barb Caskey or who? I'm trying to find the name of who gave us this information.
I believe it was.
Thank you.
Motion passes 8 to 5. Commissioners Haw, Howard, Vansickle, Wallace, and Voino voting no.
Okay, next I'll take a motion to approve items 14C through 14F.
So move.
Support.
Made by Haas, supported by Romano. I just wanted to update everybody on item D. We had to ask specifically the funding for the kettle. I know there was a lot of discussion on the kettle yesterday. But the department was, it was non-departmental capital outlay. That was the funding source specifically for this item.
Was it a red kettle?
I don't believe so.
More trouble. I got both of you here.
Seeing no other speakers on this item, please vote.
Motion passes 13 to 0.
Okay, next is resolutions. It's Resolution 2025-13148. This is a resolution approving submission of Safe Routes to School application for anchor-based schools in Macomb County. Need a motion to adopt.
So moved.
Moved by Kraft, supported by Wallace. Commissioner Kraft?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I just want to thank you for adding my name. I really appreciate that. Thank you, Chair.
No problem. Seeing no other speakers, please vote.
Motion passes 13 to 0.
Okay, next is our board office update with our chief of staff. I need a motion to receive and file.
So move.
Support.
Moved by Haas, supported by Goike. Crystal?
Hi, I'll try to make this quick. You should all have an outline in front of you like you usually do. Our general office updates. We're putting the final touches on our guide to services and hopefully going to send that to print by the end of the month. We do have 4 vacancies on the Older Adult Advisory Committee. 3 of those are for commissioners, Districts 2, 3, and 13. If you need help filling your vacancy and would like us to advertise like we do for the normal boards and commissions, let us know and we can do that to help you find a representative. We are in the middle of probably our busiest time of the year for office events. We're going to be holding 3 different events within 17 days, 12 business days. The first one being volunteer recognition. If you still need to make a final decision, please see Savannah before you leave today. We do want to send those invites out tomorrow. Our 2 Green School celebrations will be coming up shortly after that. Those applications were due from the schools on March 9th. We are working on planning that event, getting the invites out, collecting the RSVPs. The Macomb County only celebration will be at the MISD on April 25th, and our Tri-County celebration that Dr. Murphy mentioned hosting last year at the zoo will be again this year at the zoo on May 1st with Oakland and Wayne counties. We have a date for Yoga at the Hill that will be held on the last Saturday in July the 27th. That is a Saturday after our week of meetings that month, so I'll be before you a few days before to remind you. This is our 10th anniversary, so we are thinking of special ways to celebrate that. I just want to take a quick moment to talk about the history of this. So it obviously started 10 years ago. That was before yoga was everywhere it is today. Now many yoga studios do it at the parks, at the beaches, on the boardwalks with goats. We really expected our participation to kind of drop, especially after COVID, since it was offered so many other places. But the opposite has happened, and our numbers grow every single year. So I don't know if it's the t-shirts we give out, that might have something to do with it, but either way, we're happy to host it as long as the public wants to come. So we're excited to hold that for the 10th time this year. We will start promoting that and open registration next week. We will be asking commissioners to donate a raffle prize for that, and in order to promote small businesses, we ask that you consider maybe a gift card to a local business. The final reminder, our first on-the-road Older Adult Advisory Committee meeting will be March 25th, the last Tuesday of the month at 3 p.m. at the Clinton Township Senior Center. There's a lot going on that agenda, a lot of speakers. The zoo will be there to talk about their senior programming specifically. So if you are available, please consider attending that meeting. Our IQ stats since February full board. So last month, these numbers had all doubled and tripled. The numbers before you are a little lower than last month because they had grown so much. This is still a little bit higher than we had been seeing on average. 108 messages received, 92 sent. I don't know what happened to my services opened on your hard copy, but that number should be 41. That does include the open CMH applicants, so half of those will be closed by tomorrow. And we've completed 16 services. The Work Country has completed for us since the February full board. They've made several updates to the website. There have been 23 social media posts, which averages almost 1 per day. If any of you have been on our page this past week, you'll notice we started doing posts on the individual committee meetings. Committees, not meetings, so that's 2 posts for every joint committee meeting. So that's going to help fill up our calendar for the month too. Comments, shares, and clicks all increased somewhere between 19 and 63% on Facebook. We continue to see a significant increase in engagement in both January and February. What really helps that is if you can help share our posts, that will help increase our engagement. So please consider doing that from your individual Facebook pages. I pulled out some interesting statistics. The top post for Instagram was the economic forecast. And I thought it was interesting that the top post on X, which was formerly Twitter, was the older adult meeting. I didn't think the audience on X would be interested in the older adult stuff, so I just thought that was an interesting statistic to show. They did cover the economic forecast and the East Point State of the City. They created and distributed our March newsletter and helped promote our March older adult meeting. We did hold our meeting that we do every year when the contract's up for discussion, as Commissioner Howard mentioned. They did recommend adding more video content. They said that's what's really popular on social media today, so they're going to talk about ways to help us incorporate that. And we talked about highlighting the board's role in the different county projects. Every single thing that happens at the county, the board's a part of. You approve the project, you approve the funding for it. So we're going to work on ways to spread that message. And then a reminder about the community clips that I brought up last month. And please be open-minded about this. This doesn't necessarily have to be you just speaking on a video. We can help you think of different ways that you would feel comfortable doing this. If you don't have any ideas, feel free to sit down with us and we can help you think of something that you can do locally, that you're sharing information about your community and yourself as a commissioner. So that concludes my list. If there's anything else you'd like information about, I'd be happy to provide that now. And if you have any questions, I can answer them too.
Great, thank you, Crystal, for the thorough report. I don't see any questions. Nope. We all know where to find Crystal, so. Okay, please vote. Thank you, Crystal.
Motion passes 13-0.
Okay, next is public participation. This is the opportunity for public participation for those who would like to speak for a maximum of 3 minutes on any issue. Anyone from the public like to speak? Any issue?
Good afternoon. Good afternoon, Board. I was here yesterday on an agenda item, Commissioner Haw, and I think that there may have been some confusion, perhaps with another agenda item. I'm unaware of any other bidders as it relates to Agenda Item A, the contract involving right of passage, and the clarity regarding the residential property. This vendor was mentioned yesterday as a vendor that we've used previously for residential placement, and those involve children who are unfortunately no longer safe to be in the community. And so the placement in a residential facility, of course, involves high degrees of supervision, ratios involving not only case specialists, but social workers and therapists. They live in a residential facility, which is a commercial facility that is, in many instances, a secure campus. So there was never any intention to place children in an unsupervised setting. This program would draw upon the kids that may be slated for a residential placement if they can't gain control of themselves and be safe to supervise in the community. So a non-community-based program typically escalates to short-term detention, and then if that doesn't work, we look at long-term residential placement for up to a year. So perhaps the confusion regarding this particular vendor was it is a vendor, rite of passage is somebody that we use for residential placement currently, but this contract would be a community-based program with non-traditional probation hours. As you know, our probation officers typically work 8:30 to 5. And for kids that we find at risk, we use tether services, and they help us a great deal to keep track of kids when those efforts are no longer keeping the community safe. And thankfully, we have a small percentage of those kids that we recommend to the judge for residential placement, and they unfortunately have to leave the community until we can get the skills and things in place to make sure that they're safe. But there was, I think, some serious confusion with regard to the mixing of an agenda item, and we will work at the juvenile court to represent that in a way that's less confusing, and hopefully we can get that before you and not lose this great opportunity that we have with this particular vendor. It really is a great program, and we'll look to figure out what happened here and clear up any confusion if there is any. Thank you.
I know I'm not supposed to respond.
Anyone else from the public?
Good afternoon. My name is Dina Carlisle. I'm a critical care registered nurse. I'm the president of the registered nurses at McLaren Macomb, and I represent the service group folks over there as well. We're one of the 10 largest employers in the community, and I work there also. I come before you to make sure you are aware of the problem of the issues for the service group that I represent there. There are about 200 people. They were once 320 when I took them over. They are paid poverty wages. No one should have to work 3 jobs to feed their family. So I want to make sure you're all aware of what's going on over there. We're bargaining their contract. When the RN's contract began escalating, they finally started paying attention to these folks. They're at poverty wages. Many of them would be able to get benefits from SNAP or other community benefits, and that shouldn't be that way. This is one of your biggest employers. The second issue I want to bring before you is we are also bargaining the registered nurses contract. And right now, their EAing is when they send people home when the need for the nurses is there. So I come before you and ask for your support to support the service group to get fair wages and to help us staff. Local 40 stands for safe staffing. We love our community. I'm a Macomb County resident. I grew up here. I love this community. I've worked at Macomb since 2000. So I ask for your support, and I'm going to come before you with a more detailed report in the future. I just found out this afternoon you were meeting, and I'm like, I'm there. So I want to thank you for listening to me and how important it is that we serve our community well and that we treat this service group with a lot more respect. So thank you very much.
Hello again, I'm Sherita Harvey, and I just wanted to say thank you for your appointment to be a part of the board, and I look forward to serving the community with you guys, and I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you.
Else from the public like to speak? Once, twice? We'll close public participation. Next is our other board and commission updates. Have any updates? Commissioner Wallace?
Thank you, Chair. Man, I am talking a lot today. This won't happen next month. So, of course, I've mentioned the MAC conference coming up. I hope that those that are able to go did sign up to go. It will be very informative. We usually have a great time. We talk about, as a collective, we talk about what is discussed at MAC and how we can bring it to our county to help our communities. But on top of that, the National Organization of Black Counties is having an economic development conference at the end of May that I'm hoping to go to in Alabama. And of course, all are welcome. It's just a way to understand a broader spectrum of your community, and just have a better understanding, even though you may understand somewhat. I think that, when we look at other counties like Wayne and Oakland, many of their commissioners go together and, just bring back what was learned and how they can help each other in that, because what happens in the county affects me differently than it affects Commissioner Kraft. And I think that it's important for us as leaders to understand that, to be able to help our communities a little better. So I do plan on going if anyone's available. I hope that you would join me. We'll have a grand time, and it's at a nice golf resort, so even better. Thank you, Chair.
Commissioner Hall.
Thank you, Chair. I just wanted to specifically for Commissioner Romano indicate that I did read to the students on Thursday. The school put a really nice Facebook post into social media on it, thanking me for being there. Saturday was our Roseville Scholarship Dance. Sunday, I attended the fundraiser for the 2 young children of the mother that was murdered in Roseville. It's unfortunate that our city took all the bad publicity from it when both individuals were from Warren. But the young children were there, Channel 2, Channel 7, covered both events. It was very well attended, and there was a tremendous amount of community outpouring for the family. Thank you, Chair.
Commissioner Kraft.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Well, you all got to take part in CMH this last week, so I appreciate all of you for the hard decisions that we had to make. We had several excellent candidates, and it's not easy. I appreciate the ones that were appointed. I want to thank everybody again for applying, and we do have other avenues if you were not selected for the CMH board. We have the Citizens Advisory Council and some other ways to get involved specifically for community mental health. But other than that, we're trucking right along. We sent a letter to DHHS, the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services, last night after our meeting because we are still in disagreement with several issues in our contract that could equal tens of millions of dollars. So we are working through that issue. So welcome to the CMH board. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Commissioner Van Sickle.
Thank you, Chair. Well, the other day, Commissioner Romano sort of jumped the gun on the commissioner update sharing time. Commissioner Romano and I attended the Sterling Heights ethnic dinner, which is actually very interesting, as Commissioner Romano said. We had a great time. And also today, Commissioner Sabatini, Lucido, Howard, and I attended the kickoff meeting for a housing study for Macomb County. And that should be a very interesting thing, and there'll be more details about that as time goes on. But there wasn't really a lot to bring back from today. But if you want to be involved, there's opportunities to be involved going forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. And we'll share those, the next steps for that committee specifically with all the commissioners, so we have that information. Seeing no other speakers for board commission updates, we'll go to commissioner comments. Commissioner Ha.
Thank you, Chair. Just one quick one. After completion of the 19 or 20 interviews that took place, I was politely and lovingly mentioned to me that I need a new watch. Some of the applicants got more than 3 minutes. So in the future, I'm going to designate Uncle Don Sickle as our timekeeper when we have multiple interviews like that. So thank you, Don. That's all I have, Chairman.
No problem.
Anything to help.
We have some ideas for that. Commissioner Lucido.
Thank you, Chair. I just wanted to take a moment to speak to you guys, to all the commissioners, to maybe those on the prevailing side, when it comes to the rite of passage item that was voted down today, to maybe reconsider it, maybe look into it a little bit more, because I know the importance of the therapy and the education, the life skills, job placement, and the recreation that they provide these youths, because it's so important to keep them not only active in our community, but to show them how to be like productive citizens. So they're not just going back, they're moving forward. So I hope that someone from the pavilion side will reconsider maybe adding that to the agenda again next month. I would appreciate it. Thank you. That's all I
will
have.
commit to that.
Thank you.
Commissioner Wallace.
And there I am again. I just wanted to thank you guys that came together and voted for me for the award that I was up for. I did get it. So thank you so much. I know some of you voted multiple times, and I really appreciate that.
We did
but-
not.
Well, that's not allowed. Oh, that was legal. It was legal in this election.
It was open for some, I found that, but I just wanted to thank you for your support, and thank you to Commissioner Lucido for showing up and taking some pictures for me. Thank you.
Commissioner Kraft.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I want to echo Commissioner Lucido's comments as well. I was stunned to see that vote result. I figured that one was okay. It's important. It's much needed, and I hope Mr. Joseph in the audience and Nicole from the juvenile division come back next month with that and bring it before us and maybe explain it a little bit more thoroughly, show a little more TLC to this one, because it is a significant contract with a significant impact on our citizens. So thank you, Mr. Chair.
Commissioner Howard.
Yeah, just to touch on what Commissioner Phil said, I had the same reservations as Commissioner Hall. I think the term residential was not clear because in my mind I was also considering the other items that we were looking at. They were actual residential houses, and so when you clarified and said like a commercial complex, I think that is a significant difference. So I just wanted to communicate that. As well as we had a public speaker speak up for Local 40. I know Local 40 has been doing a lot of great work advocating for those that care for others. And so I just want to thank you for coming today. And I believe in the fight that you're fighting. Folks should be paid a living wage.
Okay, seeing no other.
Motion to adjourn.
Made by Romano, supported by Wallace. Please vote.
That was as fast as he's ever been.